Hey, it's Anya. A lot of times people ask me, what's the best way to practice Qigong? Or how should I practice? What should I practice? How long? So I want to address some of those questions in this video. I want to preface this by saying that I'm the kind of person that when you ask me a question, I often don't say something like, just do X, Y, Z. I usually say something like, well, it depends. This video is going to be a little bit like that. I'm going to give you simple, basic recommendations for practicing, and you can follow that. But I really recommend that you take this as a suggestion or a starting point, and that you modify to make it work for you, because we're all unique. We all have unique bodies, unique energy bodies, unique lives, unique priorities, and so on. And so I don't find that one size fits all really works, especially because I'm the person for whom that formula almost never works. So this is kind of two parts. So the first general guideline is you want to practice in a healthy, peaceful environment, wearing loose, comfortable clothing, preferably made of natural fibers. And you want to do this daily for maybe half an hour every day. And as for what you practice, practice what you know. So that's the short version, and that's a good starting point. But that may not work for everybody. So you may not have half an hour every day. You may not be able to remember things, so on and so forth. So now I want to talk about modifications and how you can adapt this to make it work for you. Because the most important thing about your Qigong practice is they actually do it. So if you know that half an hour every day is just not going to work for you, and therefore it stops you from doing any practice at all, you're not going to get any benefit. So the number one thing that actually I want you to take away from this video is any practice, even in less than ideal circumstances, is better than no practice. All right, so even if you do 2 minutes once a week, that's better than 0 minutes once a week. All right, so about the environment. Yes, it's great to have a peaceful, healthy environment. Doing your practice outdoors is awesome. That's really ideal because we do work so much with the natural energies in Qigong, and it's great to have that direct connection while you're practicing. That's ideal if you can. And sometimes I do my practice at work. It's not the ideal environment, but I'm doing it and it helps me in that situation. So do it when you can, where you can, if that's the way that it's going to get you started. And if you have the time to make a nice clean space, maybe burn some healing herbs or clear your space in whatever way you like, that's a lovely way to make your practice even more powerful, but it's not necessary for you to still gain benefit. So what you wear. Yes, traditionally it's recommended that you wear loose, comfortable clothing, natural fibers, not synthetic fibers, no tight waistband, no constricting clothing around the shoulder. You want to have freedom of movement, and that's pretty important. But again, if you can just start practicing wearing whatever you've got on, go for it. It's great if you can either be barefoot or maybe wearing socks or flexible soled shoes so that your feet can articulate through the movements. That's awesome. If you're wearing shoes and the sole of the shoe is made of cotton or maybe flexible leather, that's great too. Plastic and rubber, fine if that's, I know some people do need to wear shoes for foot support, and those shoes are made of whatever materials they're made of. But if you can do the natural soles on your shoes, that's ideal. Again, it's just something to work towards, and it doesn't need to stop your practice if you don't have those things. So when to practice? Personally, I like to practice in the morning, and a lot of people do recommend that. But the reason I like to practice in the morning is because it sets a tone for the day. I feel more grounded. I feel energized. I have a sense of connection with myself. I've started the day with a positive note, and I carry that forward with me. And also, because I'm doing it at the beginning of the day, it's done. I've done it. I'm not waiting until the end of the day when I've maybe run out of energy or time or something, and then, oops, maybe it doesn't get fit into my schedule. So that's one reason or several reasons I like to practice in the morning. That being said, maybe morning doesn't work for you for whatever reason, so practice in the afternoon. Practice in the evening, whenever you can. Just get your practice in, because some practice is better than no practice. Now, I do want to say about evening practice is because some Qigong practices are very energizing, you'll want to stick to the calmer things. So things maybe more like the healing sounds. I have some videos on that on my YouTube channel. You can find those. But calming things, meditation perhaps, because if you're doing your practice at night and you really energize yourself, you might have trouble sleeping. So that's the only thing I do say to be aware of about an evening practice. So how long should you practice for? Again, that really depends on you. It might depend on your physical stamina. It might depend on how much time you have in your schedule. It could a lot of things. So if you have a medical condition for which you want to use Qigong as a healing practice, that's a separate thing. You'll want to be doing that probably more than average person, and you'll want to be doing that with the advice of someone who is qualified to help you with that. But that situation aside, when you're just developing your practice, this is going to sound really funny, but do whatever you can. Knowing who you are. Some people need a schedule. I will do my Qigong every day for half an hour, or I will do it 3 days a week for 15 minutes, and I'll do it at this set time. Some people need a class to help them be accountable. I definitely think classes are awesome. They're a great way to learn. They're a great way to feel a sense of community. Even if you're doing it online, you can feel that entrainment with your teacher and with the other people. But, you know, if you want more flexibility, maybe you want to work with videos or DVDs even. So you can kind of be flexible with the time that way. Try just remembering whatever it is that you can remember if you're doing this on your own time, even if it's 2 minutes. This may sound silly, but there's a concept developed by B.J. Fogg that he calls Tiny Habits. He has a website, he has books. If you're interested in this concept, go check him out. But for some people, it really works to take a very minimal step in the direction of what they want to go towards. So if you want to start your Qigong habit, maybe the minimal step is putting out the clothes that you think you're going to practice in. And then maybe your next minimal step is putting those clothes on and taking a breath. Or, I mean, this sounds really silly, but he has incredible results from people who follow his method, doing these like mini steps and building on them, because it helps them move past their resistance. So maybe you're somebody who really likes a challenge and you want to set yourself a really big goal, and that's what's motivating for you. So do that, but it's important to know yourself. So you can see why this "it depends" thing comes into play. I have a book I want to recommend for creating habits. This is Better Than Before by Gretchen Rubin. I got this from my public library. Maybe it's in your public library, but it's a great resource for learning more about different personalities and what their needs are, what motivates them in creating habits, and also what might prevent you or stop you from creating a habit or sticking with a habit. So that can be a great resource if you really want to figure out how to put something in place that's going to actually work for you. So, what to practice? Kind of went over that a little bit. Whatever you can remember, especially if you're new. Just like anything new you're learning, there's a learning curve and it's going to take some time. But if you still want to practice on your own, maybe you just remember a breath, or maybe you remember to bring your arms up and bring them down with your breath, or you remember how to ground or bring energy into your lower dantian in your belly. That's actually one of the most profound practices that there is. So as long as you're practicing with intent and presence, you're going to get a lot of benefit, no matter how short or how long. Yes, you'll get different kinds of benefits from different practices, but that's actually something else I recommend you do, is experiment and see what practices make you feel good, and do those practices and do those more. All right, so quick summary. Practice in a healthy, peaceful environment. Wear clothing that's comfortable, that you can feel comfortable to move freely in, and wear flexible footwear. Practice in the morning if possible, but any time is better than no time. Practice for the amount of time that will get you to do it. It doesn't have to be half an hour a day. If 2 minutes once in a while is all you feel you can do that, because 2 minutes is better than no minutes. And practice what you can remember. As you start to practice even one small thing, you'll gain confidence and proficiency with that one thing that you're practicing, and this will lead to more confidence and proficiency as you start to learn more. So, and it will start to make whatever new things you learn, it will start to help you to learn more easily and have more confidence in yourself. So, practice. More important than having the ideal circumstance or ideal amount of time or anything else, do your practice however it works for you, and then refine over time. All right, I hope you found some useful insights. I'll see you in another video, and please do come check out my classes on my website at anyaishtara.dance.com.